Yo, what is good, YouTube? Today we're jumping into the best controller settings in Season 5. Your controller settings are unbelievably important. It's the difference between you being able to hit all of your shots, win your gunfights, and be able to win more games versus you missing your shots, losing, and having an overall much worse experience because you just can't understand why other people outgun you. And today I got you covered with everything you need to know. So with that being said, I need y'all to break 5 likes on today's video. If you drop a like, I promise you're to get a win next time you hop on Warzone. With that being said, let's hop straight into it. All right, so hopping into it here, we are of course going to be in the controller tab, and I'll give you guys a couple other settings afterwards that'll allow you to have an overall better experience that's not related to the controller, but it'll still affect your gameplay. So first thing here is going to be, of course, your aiming input device. That's going to, of course, be the controller. My button layout is going to be on tactical flipped. The reason I play on tactical flipped is just because, I mean, for tactical by itself, you guys want to be on that so that way you can do your slide canceling, all the sort of stuff. Like, that's going to make the biggest difference right there. You don't want to be playing on default. And I do happen to have that swap LBRB with LTRT. I have a Scuff and Vision controller. This is what the controller looks like, and it's got the 4 paddles on the back. The controller you have doesn't really matter. I'm just showing you guys what I happen to have, but basically that is what I have. So I have that swap there just because for me, using the top bumpers feels better than using the bottom triggers. So I like that. Not necessary though. Now let's get up in here to something that is very, very crucial, which is going to be the horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity. This right here is a 1.4, and what that relatively equates out to is about a 6.6 sensitivity, or maybe a 6.5, somewhere around there. You don't have to have a very high sense in order to be able to be really good at Warzone. Largely speaking, people that have a lower sense normally hit more of their shots, and even the best players that play this game, whether it be competitively, ranked play, anything else like that, they largely speaking have a lower sense, and that helps them hit more of their shots. Let me introduce you to SkyCoach. SkyCoach is a premier and comprehensive service that has boosting services and the ability to get you coaching by professionals and improve your gameplay. SkyCoach collaborates across a plethora of games, making sure no matter what you are playing, you will have the perfect solution to level up your play. And when specifically it comes to Call of Duty, SkyCoach has you taken care of no matter if it be acquiring accounts with the rarest camos and skins, or even helping with Warzone rank play boosting so you can get those top rewards. Something I'm a huge fan of personally is the ability to get specific camos unlocked in your account, as a lot of people don't have the time to grind out all these challenges. And the best part is that everything is done legitimately, so there's no risk of a potential ban. And with over 150,000 successfully completed orders, you can rest assured that the platform managers and the pro players will have top-notch communication. So if any of that sounds good to you, make sure you head over to skycoach.gg and use code Chuck at checkout for a discount. Now going on down here a little bit farther, we have the simplified controls preset, which is going to be off. We're gonna have all the rest of this stuff off. Now we can move on down here to something else that's going to be very important. Of course, controller vibration. Mine's on. It kind of like switches between on and off. I don't really notice it a whole lot. Obviously, this Scuff controller here has like more minor rumble packs in it, so I don't really notice it a whole lot. It feels just natural for me to have it on. It's just personal preference. It's not really going to mess with your aim at all. Now moving into the dead zone section here. This is really going to make or break your overall experience on the game. I'll explain why. So your dead zones really affect how fast you can actually react to things. Obviously, if you go down here, let's say my left stick minimum, which is this is what my settings are, is at a 0, and my right stick is at a 0. That means there is 0 degrees in which my stick moves in any direction that I do not have movement registering on the game that my character is going to execute. So when you start having more of a dead zone, like if I start moving this up here to, let's say, a 10 or 11, that means I have 10 to 11 degrees of like right there, like next to my face cam, that LS. That means that whenever I'm moving it in that area, there's basically nothing happening. Nothing is registering on the game. We don't want that. So what I would suggest is that I think the default's like 10, 15. What you want to do is try to get that as low as possible. If you have stick drift, obviously you're probably not going to be able to run a 0. I don't have any stick drift, so I can. But largely speaking, having a lower dead zone is going to be significantly better than having a higher dead zone, especially on your minimum. You definitely want to do that. And now moving over to your left stick max, this right here we can have at a 60 because that is the stick we just move around with. That is what we're going forwards, backwards, left, right, you know, all that sort of fun jazz. We don't need to have the full area available to move for the maximum input. So when I am moving, when I slam my stick forward to be able to go, to be able to tack sprint and stuff like that, we don't have to have that full area available for that to happen. We just want to be able to cut that down so the maximum input is reached significantly faster, because You're not trying to make these little tiny finite movement changes. You know, that's not a thing. It's not that type of game. You want to be able to just have that full increase. So having your left stick max right there at a 60 does so much for you. So I'd recommend you guys try that. Now your right stick max, this can be at like 99 or 100. You do not want to go any lower than 99 or 100. This is your aiming stick. We don't want to minimize the amount of ability we have to be able to make those fine adjustments. It's like, of course, for your movement stick, that doesn't matter, but your aiming is significantly different. So want to keep that available. And of course, down here, I'm just going to explain this right now. My dead zones on my triggers are only because if I don't have them, sometimes the scuff controller, because everything is a mouse click on this specific one, it just will automatically click in. And I'll sometimes randomly stim shot or throw a knife, stuff like that. And I don't want to do that. So I just have this right here, but everyone else that has a normal controller, you should be on a 0 dead zone for your left trigger and your right trigger. Now we're jumping into the sensitivity multiplier under the aiming tab. So this is our next tab. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go all the way down in here. And what you guys want to do is, you can see mine is locked right now, and that's because I have on custom sensitivity per zoom. This is something that I've actually recently done, but largely speaking, I run a 0.65 sensitivity multiplier. And what that means is that I get 0.65 of my 1.4 horizontal and vertical when I start aiming in and shooting. So that really helps you not come off target, or like come off target a lot less. I'd recommend for you guys to lower this down from that 1.0 to a 0.9, a 0.8, 0.7. Try it out. I plan a 0.65, which is probably a little bit lower than a lot of people out there. It's all about finding what works for you. But now we're gonna move on down here, and I'll show you guys my custom sensitivity per zoom here just in a sec. But now we're gonna go on down. Of course, we want our target aim assist on, our ADS aim assist on. Your motion sensor advanced settings, this really doesn't do anything, but I'll tell you guys this right now. I think it's my FOV sensitivity scaling. I have this on. I don't really know if that does anything on or off, but I have it on and everything feels great. So overall, you guys can definitely do that, though we don't really use any of these sensor advanced settings. Like, nothing else in here has changed. So you can just mess with that, and that'll be basically it. Now we're gonna go back up in here though to our aiming advanced settings, and we're gonna click into this, and I'll show you guys my custom sensitivity per zoom, since this is something I just turned on. So basically what this is I've just outlined my custom sensitivity to be that 0.65 all the way to about that 4 to 5 times zoom. And the only reason I started to actually use this is because I felt that, based on my sense and how I played the game, that when I was trying to use a sniper, like a Kar 98, anything else like that, my shot was a little bit more inaccurate because I wanted to overcorrect or just move slightly to the left, right. You know, I just wanted to overcorrect a little bit. And so I wanted to do is slow myself down. So because I have to be more finite and precise, even if I have the same controller movement, now I get a little bit less of that sway. It's harder for me to come off target. So this is something I've been experimenting with and trying. I like it, but it's not necessary. These are going to be slower than a lot of people out there, but just keep in mind, you guys can definitely do this. Otherwise, you can keep your general whatever sensitivity multiplier as a base thing across the board, and you don't have to use your custom sensitivity per zoom. Now for your ADS sensitivity transition timing here in the same tab, you want this to be on instant, not gradual or after zoom. This is going to help you instantaneously get that slower zoom in, like that, 0.65, for instance, for me, of my sensitivity. When I start ADSing, it allows your aim to feel more sticky. It allows you to slow down on the target. Granted, as long as you have good centering, it should really help you out. Centering being that you're actually, looking at the person anyways with, your crosshair dot in the center of your screen. It will greatly help you out, and I'd recommend that to be on instant, basically, for everybody out there. I don't like gradual, don't like after zoom. That's not beneficial. Don't do any of that. Now we're gonna go back in here though, because sometimes it likes to kick you out. We're gonna go for our aim response curve type. This is also very crucial. I play on standard, but there is of course linear and dynamic. I'd say the most disadvantageous for people out there is going to be linear, but you're not really going to go wrong by using dynamic or standard. I think standard is the stickiest aim assist. So if you guys want really sticky aim assist, I'd recommend to go for standard, and you guys will be taken care of with that. And that is really all you need to know for the aiming tab. Now in the movement tab here, we're gonna go look at our first thing, which is gonna be the sprint assist. And this is gonna be on tactical sprint assist. This allows me to basically just be able to sprint, attack sprint all the time, which is what you want. You don't really want to not be able to attack sprint. Of course, this is a game with tack sprint. So you want to be able to make sure that you have the ability to do that. Now we're going to go ahead and hit that show more button. Your sprint assist delay, this can be at 0 or can be at, in my case, 1 because I'm playing on PC. So I was able to go ahead and use my keyboard to be able to hit that 1 right there. And all that really is going to do for me essentially is help with maybe some of the dead slides, stuff like that. But overall, 0 is going to be fine. 50 or whatever is probably going to maybe not be the greatest, but overall you want to have this basically at nothing, and that is going to help you guys a lot. So sprint assist sideways on, sprint assist backwards is going to be on. Honestly, you guys just want this right here. You want to make sure that your movement is as snappy as possible, and you don't want to have any delay in anything, especially not in a reactionary FPS like COD. Like, that's just going to get you taken out, and the less time you have to be able to have all these cumbersome things happen, like your movement going backwards, forwards, like less time it takes for stuff to kick in, the better off you are going to be. Now for your mantle assist, we're going to keep that off. Crouch assist is going to be off. Corner slice, this is going to be on for me. You guys can have that on or off. It's not going to make that big of a difference, just something that's personal preference. I like it actually right now. I've been using it for about the past season or so. I didn't have it on before that, but I've had it on for a while and I am a fan of it, so I like to have that. Now your slide/dive behavior, this is something that I think is a little bit slept on. So right now, I'm actually playing on hybrid, and before I was actually on tap to slide. But what I realized was that by playing on tap to slide, I felt like I was getting a lot of dead slides. It just wasn't as snappy. And then as soon as I moved over to hybrid, my movement started feeling 10 times better. Now if I try to go back to tap to slide, it is awful. So I'd recommend for you guys to go play on hybrid. That right there is going to be the move. And I have this like show more because obviously this is, this is on like medium right now, but you can't really adjust that. I have to go figure out basically how to go do that. Overall, you want to be on hybrid and you'll be taken care of, because like you're seriously going to notice the difference from tap to slide to hybrid. You will 110% notice it. Now, automatic airborne mantle, I have this on so I can get over a couple of things here. Sprint and restore, you want that on. Slide and maintain sprint on. Automatic parachute behavior, you want that off. Mantle cancels reload, you want that on. And now we can get down in here to the movement advanced settings, which is going to have a couple things. So your sprint / tactical sprint behavior, you're just going to have this on toggle. That way you just only have to mash in the stick once, or I know probably where to hit it multiple times out of habit, but you want to just have that on toggle. Auto move forward is off. Of course, auto door peek is off. And your tactical sprint should basically just be on single tap sprint. The less inputs you can have to start sprinting or moving away from something, the better. So single tap sprint is going to be better. It's just going to help you get out of gunfights. I mean, imagine if you have to double tap sprint that extra few milliseconds before the input kicks in. Maybe you end up dying because you're not able to start sprinting or get away from something. Like I said, the less amount of time and things we can have for these inputs to register, the better. So the single tap sprint is going to be the move right there. Now we're gonna get back in here, but basically that is going to be all the settings you really need for this, and that is the movement tab. Now for your combat, this is going to be really good as well to be able to take note of all the stuff in here and of course change your own settings. Your aim down sight behavior, this should be on hold. I don't even feel like I should have to tell you guys this, but if you're playing this on toggle, you are clinically lost and you need to put this on hold. Seriously, don't ever put that on toggle. That is ridiculous. Attack stance behavior should just get to be on toggle. That is what you guys need to have. Honestly, all the rest of the stuff here is a little bit more personal preference. Mine is also this is personal preference here. I have this on prioritizing finishing move just because I don't really care to body shield people. It's not like what I go for. So I also don't really go for finishers that much. So I just have this. This is kind of more of a troll thing. If you want to go for finishers, awesome. If you want to go and use someone as meat shield, cool, go for it, but just have that as what you're going to do, and otherwise it doesn't matter. Your armor plate behavior is going to be on apply all. This just helps you be able to get all your plates on, of course. I mean, it's nice to be able to hold the input like your triangle or Y if you're on controller here. Of course, you're on controller if you're watching this video, but it's nice to be able to just, hold it in once and have all of your plates go through, which is quite nice. You can have it on apply one, but keep in mind, you're going to have to keep your thumb on that button the entire time. C4 detonation activation is going to be 1 by 1. I think that is the move right there. Equipment behavior is just going to be on hold. Manual fire behavior is going to be on press. And now we can go basically in here to our combat and advanced settings. And this right here is going to be, not a ton in here, but some good settings to take note of. So interact / reload behavior is going to be on prioritize interact. This is crucial for Warzone. You never ever want to be on tap to reload unless you're playing multiplayer. If you're playing multiplayer, you're on tap to reload. If you're playing Warzone, you're on prioritize interact. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're on prioritize interact. Going back in here because it likes to kick you out. Sprint cancels reload. You want that off. You actually, funny enough, when you are sprinting and you hit the reload button, you sometimes will reload very quickly by having, you know, this off. So it is nice in terms like you might sprint quickly and reload. We don't want that sprint canceling your reload. We just don't want to be able to have that happening. Now your Kimbo behavior, this should be on independent. ADS stick swap is going to be off, and of course your depleted ammo weapon switch, you can keep this on. It will help you out in certain random situations, but you're largely speaking probably not running completely out of ammo that often. Now for a couple other settings that are going to help you guys out here. Basically, this can make a difference in your game. And if you feel like your game doesn't look like a streamer's per se, like, you know, streamer, a content creator, you're wondering why. But here's going to be just a couple of things that are going to make your game look significantly better. So your field of view, I suggest for everybody to put this on 120. Some people say that you get less aim assist on 120. Like, have you seen any of my gameplay? Does it look like I get less aim assist playing this video game? If I was getting less aim assist playing this game, I would not be rocking 120, but everything feels super mega sticky. So it's like, just run 120. Your field of view should be on affected, not independent. Independent's going to make it so that if you are 120, then you're going to zoom into, what is it, that 90 FOV when you go to aim down sights. We don't want that. That's not beneficial. Keeping it unaffected keeps you at that 120, which allows your guns to look like they have less visual recoil. I mean, it lets you see more around you. Might not be the best if you're on, let's say, playing like on a big TV in the living room. Might not be the best for that just because of, like, you know, the distance you are away from your screen. I'm on a gaming setup here. Like, my monitor is right in front of me. I can literally touch it right there. So it's pretty quick. It's pretty, like, you know, close to me, but you should keep it unaffected. Weapon field of view. Actually, this should be on wide, not default. I think one of the settings kind of randomly switched on me. Go figure, it's a nice update. But basically, you guys want to go ahead and have that so that way your weapon looks smaller. You don't need to have it take up more space on your screen. Not necessary. Third person field of view can be on 90. Vehicle field of view can be on default. Weapon and world motion blur, these two settings need to 110% be off. And also this actually reset on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that. I think that's why I was getting extra screen shake in my gameplay. But third person camera movement, first person camera movement, you guys want these to be on 50. This is gonna make it so your screen shakes less when you got precisions, airstrikes, grenades, anything that can shake your screen. This is gonna shake it less. So just by having those settings that I've shown you on this tab alone will make your game look a lot more like a creator or a streamer's, as opposed to if you had these not like that originally. And the last thing here today is just go to your interface tab, and this is going to make your game look a little bit brighter, more colorful. You want to go over here to the readability, and we're actually going to go down to the very bottom, which is color customization. And the only thing we're going to do in here is we're going to change something very minorly. So your HUD color palette can be on default. You can change these if you want to make sure that things look a little bit different on your minimap. No like advantage to changing these apart from personal preference, literally it. But down here is what matters, and that's going to be your color filter target. That's going to, or your color filter is going to be on filter 2. That's the best filter. Your color filter target is going to be on both, and your world color intensity and your interface color intensity should both be at 100. By having this right here, this will change the way your game looks in a major way, and it'll make everything look just more colorful and significantly less dreary. We want that. So definitely go ahead and do that. All right, that's all I got for you guys here today for a settings video. If you guys enjoyed it, found it helpful, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.